Welcome back. Now, at the Pentagon, there are concerns over whether President Trump would pull the military into the potential chaos and unrest surrounding any transfer of political power. According to a New York Times report, senior leaders who spoke on the condition of anonymity said they were weighing options if Trump invokes the Insurrection Act and tries to send troops into the streets after the elections, just as he threatened to do during protests against police brutality and systemic racism. According to the report, if that happens, Pentagon officials say there could be resignations among many of the administration's senior generals, starting at the top with General Mark Milley, who's the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Joining me now is the founder of the National Voter Protection Action Fund, Donald Calloway. Don, good morning. Thank you so much for getting up early. It is always great to see you. This obviously it was a story that we were so focused on last week and is one that is going to continue as House leaders plan, Nancy Pelosi in particular, is planning to try and make sure they're ready if there is an electoral college tie. What's your view and how do you think Democrats should be preparing for all of these possibilities, ranging from, a peaceful political and legal fight that went to the House all the way up to what apparently the Pentagon is planning for?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things at play here. First of all, Democrats need to be planning for an overwhelming voter turnout, which is the only thing that could put this election out of any form of kind of doubt, right? So all Democrats across the board should be encouraging people to not only look at this as election day, but as an election period up to an election month. Based upon your state's rules, you should be making a plan to vote, and you have not done your part if you plan to vote, but only if you have helped your entire community make a plan to vote. Folks need to be very in tune with their state's election rules, from voting early, participating somehow early in the process that does not completely rely upon the United States mail, because we know what Louis DeJoy has done in terms of removing voting machines and tampering with that process. So our recommendation from the National Voter Protection Action Fund and what I'm hearing from Democratic operatives across the board is that people need to mask up, social distance, and vote early, be it early absentee or just no excuse absentee or early voting, but vote in person if possible. If you receive a mail-in ballot and you can take that and return it in person, you should probably do that. But I'm encouraging as many people as can to participate long ahead of November 3rd. Now, what really worries me, Casey, is if you consider that the president has had no respect for democratic norms or democracy from day one when he descended down that staircase, we can expect that behavior to continue. And it was cute when it was all about tweets and unconventional language, but now it threatens the actual foundations of democracy with the peaceful transition of power. And the problem is that his people, the boogaloos and the folks who believe the rhetoric that he's been saying, the very dangerous stuff, are going to need to feel acutely wronged. He's already laid the groundwork for that in multiple ways by calling it a rigged election, by saying there's ballots found in rivers. Of course, it's nonsensical, but his people have believed the nonsense from day one. So I can expect that there will be substantial disruptions on election day. And once he claims that this election was stolen, the guys we saw screaming at Gretchen Whitmer at the state legislature in Michigan, the guys we saw hanging Governor Beshear in Kentucky in effigy, those are the same folks who we can expect to be in the streets protesting with long guns once this president claims that he was wronged. And I can only expect that there will be hopefully not disastrous consequences.
What states in particular, quickly, are you looking at? We've heard a lot of focus on Pennsylvania, for example, but as you guys have sat down and looked across the map and focused on your voter protection efforts, what are the places we're going to be talking about on election night and the day after and the day after that?
Sure. You're looking at states that have a history of voter suppression and have places where we can expect it to be close, such that voter suppression would make a difference. Pennsylvania, particularly in the Philadelphia and Pittsburgh areas, Wisconsin, particularly 30,000 Black Wisconsins who were shut out of voting processes in 2016. I expect that Georgia will be a major place. Stacey Abrams and Fair Fight and New Georgia Project have done tremendous work over the last 10 years, but we don't know whether those votes will continue to be suppressed or not. So we're looking to get another round of funding down to Georgia and Missouri, where you have a surprisingly close governor's race that will turn largely on turnout and African-American participation in getting over those voter suppression hurdles. So we're looking at several states, but particularly those four come to mind as being major potential voter suppression grounds because of the close races there this November.
All right, Don Calloway, it's always great to see you, my friend. And thank you so much for getting up way too early with us. I really appreciate it.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.